Hi, I'm Holly Sexton for Quixie 98.3, and this is HCEC-TV's Issues and Insights. Welcome to the show. Today we have two guests. We are so happy to have Devette Sweeney with us with Central Kentucky Community Foundation, and also Jeff Knoll representing the Benjamin Committee. Thank you both for being on the show today.
Absolutely.
You can watch this or hear it later on our Facebook page at WQXE, Quixie 98.3, and WQXE.com. Today we're talking about Central Kentucky Community Foundation, and to start, before we get to the Benjamin Committee, what is the mission of CKCF?
Thanks, Holly. The mission of CKCF is to help donors and people in our community that want to give back and help make a difference in the lives of people, not just today, but forever.
And we're talking about legacy giving in the names of people we love and appreciate and more?
Absolutely. Sometimes people want to make gifts in honor or memory of people that have been important in their lives to help continue that legacy. And sometimes people just want to make gifts to help carry out things in our community that are important to them, things that they think will help make our community better long term for the future generations that will come after us.
And I highly encourage the viewers and our listeners to visit your social media sites and your website, because there's all kinds of information, not only about how you're serving, but how other people are getting engaged. So how can people do that? How can they connect with you?
There's a lot of different ways to connect with us. We do have a very active social media presence. You can see us all the time.
Yeah.
And our website really is an opportunity to take a deeper dive into some of those stories and examples, because everybody that we work with has a story. You know, there's a reason. There's a cause behind what they're doing and why they care, and it's that story that is what's so important. That's what brings meaning to them, and that's what we want to help honor and carry out to help honor their wishes.
And you're getting ready to have a new home. I go to the library quite often, so I'm seeing the construction happening, but it's in the Hardin County Library E-Town area.
Yes, right next door to the Hardin County Public Library on Jim Owen Drive. You're probably seeing a lot of mud right now.
Yes.
But we're hoping for some sunshine, a little less rain, some wind to dry it out, and we hope to be in this summer.
That's exciting.
It is.
Jeff, how did you get involved with Central Kentucky Community Foundation?
Well, my initial involvement has been through the Benjamin Fund, and a little over a year ago, Devette and I were both at a unity meeting together, a unity team meeting together, and afterwards she approached me about the possibility of serving on a team that would help talk about the funds that the Benjamin Fund is set up for, and how to distribute those, how to really make it fulfill its mission. And everything she said about it just connected with who I am and my heart and vision for both what we do through ministry from the church and in this community. So I was excited to jump on board, and that was really kind of the formation of that team. And so it's been a little over a year now we've been working on this. So that's my connection to it.
And it's empowering when you meet a person or see an entity or get involved in something that lines up completely with what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Because there's strength in
100%.
unity and in those numbers.
Yeah, there was definite synergy there in terms of heart for the community and how to make that happen. So I was very excited to do that.
What's the structure of the Benjamin Fund?
Sure.
The beginnings and how does it work?
So just like we talked about that everybody has a story and what they're giving their money to, in our community, the Benjamins had a story too. And they lived in this community for many years, operated a business, and at Mr. Benjamin, he was the last to pass. He left his money to a fund at the Community Foundation with a mission that was very personal to them. They were a mixed faith couple that came here in the 60s, and you can imagine that probably a Jewish Catholic marriage was had challenges in our
all marriages have challenges, but
absolutely.
put that on top, and especially with what we know about our community at that time.
Yes.
It's fascinating to hear that they were welcomed in and what they decided to do and made their own way here.
And so the fund was established to help our community be a little more thoughtful about people that are different and that may not look or believe and feel exactly the same way that we do, and how now the Community Foundation is charged with carrying out those wishes of the Benjamins to help affect the way our community operates in those areas. And so the committee came together. We said, you know, we need some people that are passionate about this topic, that bring some diversity of thought and ideas to the table. And we took the last year, and they've worked hard. It's not always easy work, but brought their ideas, their thoughts, their experiences together to look at how we move the needle in this community in that area.
And you're doing it, people like Jeff who are thinking globally and acting locally, which I really appreciate. And it's so great to see that their legacy continues on, and I'm sure they would be happy to know what's next. So what's next? What are you working on?
Well, it's interesting you say that, and that was part of, in our initial discussions, was whatever it is that we do, we hope that it really reflects the heart of what the Benjamins were all about and carrying out their vision, because it is their fund, and it is a fund they left with a very specific purpose. So I appreciate you saying that, because that's been our driving passion from the very beginning, was to know, we really want to know who they are so that we can carry that out. And so we're really excited. We went through a long process of trying to kind of break down what would really be the tip of the spear in terms of addressing an issue that's going to have the most impact, and initially really connect. And we really began to see through a lot of different research type of methods that we did, but one was sitting down with a lot of school officials. And I think it became clear through that interview that this was something that we had to do at the educational level. And so through that process, and also through one of our members, Dr. Shemetta, and her work with gifted students, that we came across this project called Never Again, Murals of the Holocaust. And after interviewing the people that created that and put that into play, we really began getting serious with how to logistically make that happen in our community. So yeah, the Never Again Murals of the Holocaust is what's going to happen. And that's going to be taking off the end of this month, and we're pretty excited about it.
It sounds obvious, but I really want to know, how does this exhibit line up with the Benjamins? What's exhibited there? Not literally, but figuratively. What are the connections between what they were trying to do and their mission and these panels?
You want me to start?
It seems obvious, right? But it's a pretty deep question,
course,
and we've got the time, so let's talk about it.
So, of course, Mr. Benjamin was Jewish, and part of his vision for the fund was that it would help combat anti-Semitism. And we know that is a rising issue in society today. It's always been an issue, but those that research and track attitudes around the Jewish community show increasing anti-Semitism.
The attack on the mosque last year.
And that's not local data. It's nationwide, but still we can reflect that as well. So
our students are global now too. If you think about it,
right.
The way they're connected
Yes.
through the internet and how they learn.
So that at its core, but it's more than just a study of the Holocaust. The murals are really a study of people and how we view people and how we treat other people.
And there it is.
Right.
That's what I was asking. What's that component?
There is the history element to it. It is about the Holocaust, but we are not doing this project as a history lesson. We are doing this to help our community think differently, examine their own thoughts and belief systems. How do we incorporate others into our community? How open are we? How engaging are we? How considerate? Do we show empathy? All of those kinds of things that we see that were factors in the Holocaust becoming the Holocaust.
There's so many layers to this, as we're going through this, and obviously, Devette hit the nail on the head. This is all about helping people to understand, to be kind, and how cool that in our community's, recent history, we've gone through this,
The Just Be Kind movement.
Just Be Kind movement, right? And all of that springs from what? There's just a lot of hatred and a lot of anger and a lot of violence going on within our society. So it's not that anti-Semitism is a new thing. It, as Devette said, it's always been with us. But we are in a time period where it's really growing, and it's kind of becoming an accepted thing for some reason, that particular kind of prejudice is somehow being accepted, and that's not right. That is not right at all. However, when you look at our community, there's not a large Jewish community here, so we don't really fully understand that if you just look at our community. But the Holocaust represents in the history of mankind one of the greatest and most profound examples of what happens when hatred is accepted on a cultural level, and then it becomes a corporate hatred that's accepted by a society, and when the extinction of an ethnicity is okay, that's not okay. Mm-hmm. And what I think people don't realize is the domino effect, that how a society can accept prejudice towards a particular group of people unknowingly. And the Holocaust represents the extreme epitome of what that is. And so as we're living in a time period where you see hatred and violence against people, and it seems to somehow people justify their anger at a particular people group.
And you don't have to look far.
No, you do not.
To find that person that will join you in whatever you're working on, good or bad.
That's correct.
And thank you for going into detail, both of you, for going into detail with that. Have you seen the exhibit? Have either of you seen it in person yet?
I have not.
We have seen video
Okay.
and images of it, and we have a couple of people on our committee that have seen it in person.
What have they said about it? They've given you reviews on it?
Very, very moving. Mm-hmm. Very moving. The murals were created over the course of about 20 years through students in the Gifted Studies program at WKU. So the murals were created by middle and high school students, mm-hmm. and they were done to give an artistic reaction to their study of the Holocaust, to give them a way of self-expression mm-hmm. of their response. Because it is tough to study. I mean, it's tough for me as an adult to really think about the horrors of what happened. And I think about a middle and high school student trying to wrap their head around that at their age. And so the murals started as a class project. They created one every year through the Gifted Studies program, and over time started to notice what a real treasure mm-hmm. and an opportunity that could be. And so they worked to get them mounted, framed, lit, and everything so that they could be a traveling exhibit.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, where did you decide how and where to show these?
As we talked to the originators of this project, they had opportunities in the past where they would take it to school systems and display them at school systems, in schools, or some kind of a venue where the students would kind of go through a two-phase. They would learn about the Holocaust in their school, in the classroom, and then they would go to the murals and just be exposed to those murals, and it was kind of a reflective time for them mm-hmm. to just look at them and think about them, and then they would have some response time. And so that's what I think connected with us when we thought, okay, this is something that can go right into the schools. And so that was our original plan, was they would be displayed at the schools, and we would somehow have to have the kids bused from one student or from one school to another. And in the end, it ended up that they're going to be housed at ECTC at the JSO building, and so that's going to be really excellent, because that's a much more public venue, mm-hmm. and so the schools will bus the students there, but it also means they'll be on display throughout the day. So anyone from the community is welcome to go. Take church groups, take organization groups, work groups, whatever it is you want. You can go there during the day. And so that's the idea, is to initially, it was the students to take them and see it and have them respond to it.
What's the timeline for this exhibit?
The exhibit is February 25th through April 5th.
Okay. And
it will be open Monday through Friday. So like Jeff said, anybody can come in and wander through. It's in the Morrison Gallery. There will be student groups in and out at times, because we have students from all 4 of our local high schools that will be coming as part of their classroom studies. So they're provided with a curriculum through a grant with the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts. There's a program called Bearing Witness, which gives teacher resources that they can use, as well as student resources in the classroom.
Fantastic. I was going to ask about curriculum, if there's anything that goes along to talk more about the themes.
We started working with our local high schools back last summer, I guess it was, and had several teachers that went through professional development training through the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts on how to incorporate this into their classrooms. And we think about history, but it's also through English classes, arts, performing arts. We have teachers from many disciplines that will be utilizing this in their classes.
I love that, just full circle there. And there really is an impact. Not only can students see it reflected in their daily lives and whenever they listen to the news or however they get their news, but also seeing it in their classrooms and getting to have that conversation a little more in depth, and in the arts, being able to express themselves. And I love how these were created by students, and now that connection's just beautifully done.
One of the key components of this is what we call the Night of Remembrance, and it's on Monday night, March 25th, and it will be again at ECTC in the room 112 at the JSO building at ECTC. And this is a time to invite the community to come together. We're very honored that a Holocaust survivor will be speaking that night, and I'm sure that some in our community have probably been to a Night of Remembrance in a Jewish community. For instance, there was just one up in Louisville a few Sunday nights ago, where it's specifically a night where all of Judaism remembers the Holocaust, and it's a very moving, special time to respond to that. So this is something that'll be new to our community, and it's a component of that. So our hope is that as students are impacted by this in the classroom and visualizing it, they'll go home and talk to their parents about it, and their parents' interest will be raised. And we're also sharing it with churches and hoping that maybe they'll come as well, and other community groups.
Absolutely. There may be something I forget to ask. Is there something I'm forgetting to ask? Any component that I didn't ask about that you'd like to share?
The exhibit will be open on 2 Saturdays as well. We know those daytime hours can be tough for some people with work schedules. It will be open on 2 Saturdays from 8 to 3. That is March the 9th and March the 23rd.
Well done.
I had to think about that. So the people can have access to it. Again, we think that's one of the elements that we're bringing to it. We could have had them in a school and the students had exposure and done the one-night community event, but we really like the idea that this can have broader community reach. We were, as we looked at how we could best make a difference in our community with the mission of the Benjamin Fund, we did identify that youth was where we had the biggest opportunity. Moving the needle on adult attitudes is tough. I mean, we get a little ingrained as we age, right? And so we started with that, and then even though that's where we started, we've ended up finding something that really offers something for everyone. So a really nice bonus.
Right. And when we think about the community of Elizabethtown and Hardin County, we may not have a large Jewish community, but we are certainly ethnically diverse in a number of other areas, and so the application of it becomes pretty obvious. Let's look around and let's see the community in which we live, and how do we learn how to love and be kind and understanding of the community in which we live. We may not always agree on everything, but that doesn't mean we can't be good neighbors.
That's what I wanted to ask you. What does kindness mean? How is that applicable? I know we say a lot, and you see the signs, and some people even stole the signs, and and all that stuff. And some people, you see a sign, and you're like, yeah, they really need that. Like, what is that?
Well, there's a lot of definitions of that.
Yeah, exactly. But in this context, what does kindness mean? What does that mean in regard to diversity?
From my perspective, I think it really just means being civil with one another and learning how to be a good neighbor. It's a recognition of our differences and even disagreements, but just because we disagree on something doesn't mean you're my enemy. I serve on another group called the Unity Team, and that team grew out of a...
What is that? When you mentioned that, I perked up. What is Unity Team?
It was started by our past police chief, Tracy Schiller.
Of course.
And it grew...
It's wonderful.
It grew out of what we saw happen in a lot of other communities where there were acts of violence that involved different racial ethnicities, and it was pinned on that, and before the truth could get out to kind of calm everyone down, you saw this rise of violence and immediate reaction. And Tracy was just genius in saying, let's bring different elements of our community together. So we have representatives from the Islamic community, the Judeo-Christian, Catholic, we have NAACP, we have from our Latino community, we have them all represented there. And the point is, let's become friends when there's not an issue. And so we've been meeting together now for a couple of years, and we eat lunch together. We go to one another's venues and prepare lunch, and we're always excited when the Islamic Center hosts it, and when the Hispanic Church hosts it. You know, that always brings a much more better flavor to it.
Yeah.
But so we do all that, and the point is, let's get to know one another. And when there are issues that have come up in the community that have involved the police, they come to us first and they share with us the details of that, so that if there are people within our communities that we can share with, hey, let's keep calm, let's understand what's really going on here, and let's not react with our feelings and emotions. So back to your kindness.
But no, that's key in crucial conversations, is saying, okay, these are the facts. Let's not go into how we feel about things. These are the facts.
Right.
And oh, by the way, you're Jeff and I know you from this, and we have coffee together, or, you know, that type of thing. And I think unity is perfect. It's been word for the organization.
It's been phenomenal. I remember, I think the meeting that DeVette came to, we had progressed to a point, and I made a statement. I said, you know, I think all of us recognize there are issues here that we will never agree on. We will never be able to agree on, but that doesn't mean we can't be an example of what it means to be kind and to be good neighbors and to get along with each other for the betterment of our community, and to be a peaceful place because we all have the goal of living together. And so the Benjamin Fund just ties right into that. And it's just an amazing thing. And DeVette's doing a great job with it.
I agree.
You know, we're all human beings. At the core, when you break it down, we're all people. And if we think about how we treat other human beings, we don't have to agree 100% on things. Oftentimes we probably agree on a lot more than we disagree. It's that part that we disagree on that tends to get the attention, and can tend to push us into areas that lack civility in the way that we discuss them.
And it really doesn't bring out the best in us, and it doesn't get work done.
Right.
Really.
So we want to help our students, and probably all of us, as people that can do a little better in this regard, to learn and to demonstrate how you can do that, how you can get along with people that you may disagree with on some things, and it doesn't have to be the focus, how we can have civility, how we can be kind to other people, just basic human decency. Can I say that? Just, you know,
I'm cool with that.
At the core, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
How we treat other people.
Before we go, we have a few more minutes before we wrap up. What do you have coming up for Central Kentucky Community Foundation? You have your exciting opening.
Yes. Well, I just want to say that I think this is really exciting to us, this exhibit, and I know we've talked about that. But what's important to me is that we do carry out what the Benjamins want, and you touched on that. That to me is our overarching goal, is that when someone entrusts us, especially after they're no longer here, when someone entrusts us to carry out those wishes, that's an important responsibility. So we're excited that we've engaged other people in the community to help us do that. We do have the building coming up this year. We'll have a grand opening this summer, so I'm sure I'll be
very exciting.
I'll be letting you know, Holly, help us get the word out. Help us get the word out on that.
Text me, and we'll help you move your office.
There you go. We are
Lucky pack.
we are in the middle of scholarship season, so you know we give out a lot of scholarships every year. So
I'm going to break fourth wall here. Go now, like
Yes.
there's money on the table.
yes,
Yeah.
Scholarship Central has over $300,000 in local scholarships for our students. So that deadline is March 1st. Not sure exactly when this all airs, but for anyone that's interested, and then we'll be working through that review process and awarding process by the 1st of May. So that's a very busy time for us.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Jeff, do you have anything to
Just
add?
want to throw a shout out to the whole, not just CKCF, but the whole concept of philanthropy. I've normally always in my professional life and ministry life been on the end where we're seeking funds. This is really my first venture into a project where the funds are available and we're looking for opportunities to express that. And it has really opened my understanding of the incredible value of philanthropy. And this community is overwhelmingly blessed with CKCF. And I hope that we realize the treasure that we have in both that organization and in DeVette and the administration she gives to it.
And how can people watching give or get involved?
Absolutely, just give us a call. You know, everything we do starts with a conversation. Obviously, somebody can go online and click to make a donation, but we really like to talk with people about what they wanted to go toward and what they're passionate about so that we direct it to have meaningful impact for them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing and
Thanks for
bringing
having us.
unity. Happy to have you. And we're happy to have you as well. Thank you for watching Issues and Insights on HCEC-TV.